and gentlemen, hello and welcome to our English news edition coming to you from Canal Algérie. I'm your host, Maysa Doumaz. To the headlines. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, holds phone call with his Egyptian counterpart, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, during which promoting bilateral cooperation and backing the Libyan efforts topped the conversation. The President of the Republic receives the credentials of 3 ambassadors to Algeria, representing Djibouti, Canada, and the United States of America. And we wrap up our news bulletin with a guided visit to the ancient city of Timgad with enormous tourist potentialities. Those were today's headlines. First in our news, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, had a phone call with his Egyptian counterpart, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, during which he thanked him for the warm and fraternal welcome he and the accompanying delegation received during his visit to Egypt. They also discussed ways and means of promoting bilateral cooperation between the two countries in several fields, notably economy, and the ongoing preparation for the holding of the next session of the Joint Higher Committee. On this occasion, the two presidents expressed their support for the Libyan efforts to preserve the unity of Libya, its stability and sovereignty. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received on Wednesday the credentials of 3 new ambassadors to Algeria, namely the ambassador of Djibouti, Eid Mes'ad Yahya, Canada's ambassador to Algeria, Michael Ryan Kalin, as well as the U.S. ambassador, Elizabeth Moore Aubin. More details with our reporter, Manal Ammari.
The Djiboutian ambassador, Eid Mes'ad Yahya, who will be based in Paris, was the first to be received by the President of the Republic. Following the audience, he had this to say to the newsmen.
I have the honor of submitting my credentials to the President Abdelmajid Tebboune, by which the President Ismail Omar Guelleh appointed me as ambassador to this great country. We reviewed the stable relations between the two countries since Djibouti's independence in 1977. Until this day, both countries belong to regional subgroups. We are members of the Arab League. We are also partners in the African Union. Algeria played and is still playing an important role in the situation of our region. We had the opportunity to congratulate and thank the President for planning the Algiers summit for the Arab League, which will be a unique opportunity to address Arab and African issues in a globalized world. We appreciated Algiers' move to upgrade its representation to the level of embassy.
Later in the day, the President of the Republic received the Canadian ambassador to Algeria, Michael Ryan Kalin, who made the following statement.
During the talks I had with the President, we reviewed the bilateral relations between Canada and Algeria and are pleased with the quality. We both agreed that there is more potential to further develop them for the benefit of both countries and their peoples. We discussed our cooperation in matters of security, during which I underlined my desire to explore the possibilities of developing cooperation in this field. I also highlighted our appreciation of the role that Algeria is playing in a region which is unfortunately going through tough times that require wisdom and diplomatic expertise, assets that Algeria has to offer. We also tackled the main principles of which Algeria and Canada's foreign policy are based, namely human security and international system based on rules to face challenges such as international terrorism, climate change, or the current health situation.
The U.S. ambassador to Algeria, Elizabeth Moore Aubin, also submitted her credentials to the President of the Republic. After the audience, she made the following statement.
For the last 32 years, I've had the enormous honor and privilege to serve my country as a diplomat. And it's been such an honor to represent the United States on 5 continents, but here in Algeria twice. I was here from 2011 to 2014 as the Deputy Chief of Mission, and it's the really highlight of my career and life to be able to come back and be the U.S. ambassador here. A week ago, I had the opportunity to meet with Secretary Blinken, Secretary of State Antony Blinken, before coming here to Alger. Secretary Blinken expressed his deep appreciation for Algeria's history, culture, its people, the geographic beauty. He talked to me about his visit here in 2016, and we discussed the great importance of this bilateral relationship and our rich, multifaceted relationship. So he instructed me to deepen this partnership, and so I will do so to the best of my abilities. Algeria and the United States have many shared interests. We both seek stability and prosperity in North Africa and the Sahel. Our security cooperation and shared fight against terrorism will continue to be an important cornerstone of our bilateral relationship.
The audience took place in the presence of Foreign Affairs Minister Ramtan Al-Amamra, as well as Principal Secretary of the Presidency Abdelaziz Khalaf. The Bureau of the National People's Assembly, or Lower House of Parliament, held a meeting chaired by the Speaker of the Council, Ibrahim Boughali. After approving the minutes of the meeting held on January 23rd, the Bureau also reviewed several draft bills. Oral and written questions were submitted as well. Three key sectors, notably justice, environment, and pharmaceutical industry, were examined during the cabinet meeting chaired by the Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, Ayman bin Abdurrahman. The details with Leticia Sabtawi.
The government meeting, chaired by Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, Ayman bin Abdurrahman, was devoted to the examination of the justice, environment, and pharmaceutical industry sectors. As for justice, draft organic bill laying down the procedures and approaches for referral to the Constitutional Court was submitted. This draft bill comes as part of implementing the provisions of Article 196 of the Constitution of November 1st, 2020, allowing the Constitutional Court to exercise its powers and carry out its mission of constitutional control in accordance with the established procedures. This draft bill will be examined by the Council of Ministers. Concerning the environment field, a draft executive decree was presented defining the regulations applicable to establishments classified for the protection of the environment. The implementation of the executive decree in question since its promulgation in 2006 has revealed a number of shortcomings and slowness in the procedures for issuing operating permits. At this point, and with a view to supporting and promoting investment while ensuring the protection of the environment, it is planned to modify this text to provide answers to current contexts and to a present and persistent environmental liability, in particular through the simplification of procedures, the extension of the scope of implementing the decree to mobile installations, and the definition of regulatory conditions of existing classified establishments. As regards to the pharmaceutical industry, a draft executive decree on the rules of good manufacturing practice for products for human medicine was reviewed. This draft text defines the rules and conditions to be respected by pharmaceutical establishments in order to create a quality management system guaranteeing the manufacture of pharmaceutical products for human medicine in line with the international norms and standards. This draft bill
to COVID-19 updates now: 585 new confirmed cases, 485 recoveries, and 11 deaths were recorded in the last 24 hours in Algeria, according to the Health Ministry. Despite the stability of the current health situation, compliance with the barrier measures remains a must. Our reporter Rania Al-Bahri paid a visit to the famous Al-Hamiz markets to check the citizens' behavior with the preventive measures.
Respecting the barrier measures, a behavior that is becoming more and more essential in public places and more precisely in big shop markets. as it is the case here at Al Hamis Municipality Market, which records a strong flow of consumers. We respect the health protocol. We all wear face masks, but sometimes people forget to respect the barrier measures. It's imperative for us to limit the number of people in the shops. You have to protect yourself and protect others. It's really selfish not to follow the necessary measures, such as wearing face masks and respecting social distancing. This is the only way to lower the infection cases. Now people are more aware of COVID-19. The majority wear face masks. There is a minority who don't respect the health protocol. The last few days, the contamination cases have raised considerably. However, people continue to neglect barrier measures, especially in some shops, restaurants, and means of transportation.
In the dynamics of continuous efforts in the fight against terrorism and organized crime, units and detachments of the National People's Army carried out several successful operations, denoting the high professionalism, vigilance, and permanent availability of our armed forces throughout the national territory. Manal Ammari with the details.
As part of the fight against terrorism, detachments of the National People's Army arrested 7 support elements for terrorist groups in separate operations across the national territory. Within the framework of the fight against organized crime and in continuity with the intense efforts aimed at countering the scourge of drug trafficking in our country, combined detachments of the National People's Army arrested in coordination with various security services at the level of the 2nd and 3rd military regions 7 drug traffickers and thwarted attempts to introduce large quantities of drugs across the borders with Morocco, amounting to 7 quintals and 21 kilograms of cannabis, while 21 other drug traffickers were arrested in possession of 22.5 kilograms of the same substance, 152.31 grams of cocaine, and 25,992 psychotropic tablets were seized during various operations carried out across the other military regions. In addition, detachments of the National People's Army intercepted in Tamanrasset, Borj Baji Mukhtar, Janet, and Tindouf 84 individuals and seized 20 vehicles, 214 generators, 132 pneumatic drills, 4 metal detectors, quantities of explosives, detonation tools, and other equipment used in illicit gold mining operations, as well as 5 tons of a mixture of raw gold and precious stones, while 15 other individuals were arrested, possessing 14 hunting rifles, 173 quintals of copper, 57 quintals of tobacco, and 25.6 tons of foodstuffs intended for smuggling, in addition to 20,140 units of different drinks seized in Tizi Ouzou, Ghelizan, Batna, Galma, El Wed, Biskra, and Borj Baji Mukhtar. Similarly, the border guards thwarted attempts to smuggle quantities of fuel amounting to 28,035 liters into Bissa, At-Taraf, Suqahras, and Borj Baji Mukhtar. In another context, the Coast Guards thwarted at the level of our national coasts attempts at illegal immigration and proceeded to the rescue of 61 individuals on board of craft-built boats, while 175 illegal immigrants of different nationalities were arrested in Tlemcen, Naama, Ain Timushin, Janet, Tindouf, and Wergla.
Internationally, the Spanish Senator Carles Molet called on the Minister of Foreign Affairs Cooperation and the European Union, José Manuel Alvarez, to clarify the nature of the measures taken by the Spanish government regarding the issue of human rights in the occupied territories of Western Sahara and the diplomatic steps meant to end the Moroccan repression against the Sahrawi civilians. The Moroccan Social Front called on for the commemoration of the 11th anniversary of the launch of the February 20th movement by organizing sit-in protests in several cities of the kingdom. For its part, the coordination for the fight against Zionism and the normalization is to organize an electronic meeting next Saturday to decree the 2022 year of fight against the normalization. After Algeria's poor participation in the African Cup of Nations competition, the Algerian clubs are to resume the different continental contests with a view to better representing our country. Leticia Sidqawi has the details.
Now that the African Cup of Nations competition is over, this weekend will be marked by the resumption of continental club contests with no less than 3 Algerian teams, namely CR Belouizdad, ES Sétif and the GS Saoura. In the prestigious Champions League competition, CRB will face this Friday the Tunisian side of l'Étoile du Sahel, hiring 4 Algerian players, Hussein Ben Ayada, Youssef Lawafi, Ilyas Ben Youssef and Zinedine Boutman. The Shabab will try to kick the competition in a good way to ensure a good start.
You make a good preparation, especially for this game. You studied for 3 or 4 weeks ago about the team for our opponent, and they have some problem because they change some players, they lose some players, and that's not our problem. You have to focus in this game.
For its part, the ES Sétif resumes the prestigious competition after having participated last season in the Confederation Cup. They will face in the group Houraya AC from Guinea. ESSBN by USMA Algiers and the local league are called upon to show their best versus the Guinean Giants. In the CAF group stage, GS Saoura will face the South African Orlando Pirates, a tough mission for our representatives who are determined to come back home with a positive result.
Let's head now to Batna province for a guided visit to the ancient city of Timgad, the land of rich vestiges, notably its open-air theater, still attracting tourists. Rania Al-Bahri has more.
Timgad was a Roman city in the Ores mountains of Algeria. It was founded by the Roman Emperor Trajan around 100 years before Christ. The full name of the city was Colonia Marciana Tamugadi. Emperor Trajan named the city as a tribute to his mother, Marcia. Extending over an area of 90 hectares, Timgad offers the perfect example of Roman military colony.
The city had about 15,000 inhabitants or 300 people per hectare. The city was prosperous. Thanks to its agriculture, the Timgad people were very rich, living in large buildings like these villas.
Timgad gives us the image of the greatness of the Romans in the Numidian lands, with its buildings entirely constructed in stone. The ancient theater, another archaeological site of big importance, where the religious ceremonies were celebrated.
The architecture of the library is African Numidian style. Here we can see a melting pot between the Numidian and Roman civilizations.
Now we delve to discover one of the hidden secrets in Timgad Museum, where you can see ancient objects with a great symbolism, such as these pottery pieces. But the museum owes its importance above all to its rare and priceless mosaic of 1.12 square meters and makes it the only open-air museum.
That was it for our news edition. Thanks for tuning in to our program. Good night.